Welcome to The Awakened Heart, a podcast for healing women, a place where your voice matters, your body is sacred, and your journey home to yourself is honored, no matter how winding the road. I'm Autumn Moran, your licensed professional counselor in the state of Texas, life coach in the USA, 500-hour trained yoga instructor, and ultimately your companion on this messy, sacred path we call healing, always offered in a neurodivergent, affirming, and trauma-informed lens. Today's episode is an offering to anyone who knows the heavy weight of guilt. The kind of guilt that creeps in the moment you say no. The guilt that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" when you rest, when you choose yourself, when you start to bloom. If you ever wondered, am I selfish for wanting more? Am I bad for needing space? Am I wrong for wanting to heal? This episode is for you. Because today, we're talking about the truth behind guilt and why the guilt you feel is not the truth about who you are. Let's begin. When you've lived most of your life in survival mode, when you were raised to put everyone else's needs first, when you learned early on that love was conditional, these last two especially from your caregivers, choosing yourself feels dangerous. Not because it is dangerous, but because your nervous system was wired to believe that abandoning yourself was safer than being abandoned by others. That's big, right? Your nervous system has been wired to believe that abandoning yourself is safer than being abandoned by others. Think about it. If you were rewarded for people-pleasing, if you were punished emotionally, verbally, or energetically for saying no, for asking questions, for taking up space, if you survived by shrinking, by appeasing, by staying quiet or small, of course guilt shows up when you start making different choices. Of course your body sounds the alarm when you move toward authenticity instead of accommodation. Guilt isn't a moral failure. It's a nervous system echo. It's your survival system trying to protect you from old danger, even though the danger is gone now. Think about this. Where in your life do you notice guilt popping up most often? Is it when you rest? Is it when you set a boundary by saying no, thank you, I can't, not right now? Or is it when you need something? Just notice. No shame, no fixing, just pure self-awareness. Because that's the key to growth. That's the key to starting. With self-awareness comes action steps. With self-awareness comes the ability to plan a different way. Here's something rarely talked about in the healing world. And that's that guilt isn't always guilt, my friends. Sometimes it's grief. Sometimes it's the ache of realizing you spent years, your childhood, your 20s, your 30s, abandoning yourself to stay loved. You sacrificed your voice to belong, to not be rejected, even by people that may not have been the healthiest. You stayed small because it felt safer than being seen. Because being seen may have consequences of rejection, ridicule, judgment, meanness, comparison, gaslighting, manipulation. And when you start stepping out of these survival patterns, you feel the loss. You feel the sadness of who you had to become to stay safe. You feel the discomfort of shedding old roles. Caretaker, peacekeeper, silent sufferer. That's not guilt. That's grief. And then underneath the grief is growth. Growth often feels uncomfortable, awkward, and quite exposing. It feels like guilt because you're moving against the grain of old conditioning. It feels like grief because you're mourning an old identity that has kept you safe up until this point. And that's okay. There's no shame in that. You had to do that in order to get to where you are today, to stay safe, to make it through. But this moment, this time, find some micro agency. What is one small thing you can do today despite the guilt? But what's really happening here when this guilt comes in is you're expanding. You're becoming more of yourself. You're healing the places where you were once taught to disappear. Can you think of one moment recently where you felt guilty? And now, looking back, you realize it might have actually been grief or growth. Were you growing by standing up for yourself? Were you grieving because that old version of you needed more than what it got and now you want it? You know you deserve it now, just as you always have. Just notice what comes up. There's no wrong answer here. Again, this is about self-awareness, just building the awareness of where the guilt comes in, what you're doing when the guilt comes in, and how to accept it. Let's take a moment to bring your body into this conversation, because healing isn't just intellectual, it's embodied. Wherever you are, if it's safe to do so, place one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly. If you're doing something other than resting or just sitting, wherever your grip is, lighten it up. Just make sure you don't have a tight grip. Close your eyes or soften your gaze, just nice right in front of you. Let's take a nice, slow, deep breath in through the nose. Let that belly rise. Hold it up top, and then exhale it out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time, if you will. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. On this inhale, make sure that belly's rising. Make sure it's going past the chest. Notice any places in your body that feel tight, heavy, or guarded. There's no need to fix it. Just witness it with compassion. And now I invite you to silently or softly whisper to yourself, I am safe to choose myself. Guilt is not my guide. My truth is. I am safe to choose myself. Guilt is not my guide. My truth is. This is how we rewire ourselves, rewire our nervous system, rewire our brain. Not by forcing, but by gently offering a new experience of safety inside our own skin. Feel free to shake it out, wiggle it out, stretch it out, scream, punch a mattress, cry, grieve it out. What if every time guilt bubbles up, instead of panicking, you could whisper, this means I'm healing. This is a good sign. What if guilt was evidence, not of wrongdoing, but of rewiring? Every time you set a boundary and feel sick afterwards, or just some sort of way that's icky, every time you take a nap and feel like you're failing at life, every time you choose peace over proving and feel guilty for not doing more, you're not regressing. You're healing. You're confronting the old survival systems head on. You're teaching your body, your heart, your mind that safety comes from within now. It's that age-old saying, you have everything within you that you need. It's already there. You've just got to tap into it. You've got to hone it in. You've got to love it. You've got to get past all the shit that's been built up, all the trauma, all the neglect, all the sadness, all the victim mentality. And like any healing, it's messy. It's not linear. It's tender, but it's sacred work. The guilt is loud not because you're wrong, but because the old patterns are scared of losing control. Your nervous system will choose familiar chaos before it will choose unfamiliar comfort. Your job is to be consistently there for your nervous system, to rewire it, to reassure it that this new way is safe. You're asking your nervous system to stop doing something it's done for eons and try something new. It's doable, but it takes effort and purposeful time. So set a few alarms with a special tone, special notification to just deep breathe and regulate your nervous system, rewire your nervous system. When that alarm goes off, set a timer for 2 minutes. And I want you to breathe deeply. Inhale with the belly. Make sure that breath is going in the belly. A big Buddha belly on the inhale. And as you exhale, let that belly fall and exhale through the nose. Through the mouth. I got lost in thought. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Let all that hot air out. One hand can be on the heart, one hand can be on the belly, or wherever it feels good to you. And remind yourself that I am safe to choose myself. I am safe to protect my peace. Guilt is evidence that I am healing, that I am confronting the old and beginning with the new. And what happens if you say no? What's your fear? What happens if you take a day off and do nothing? What's your fear? I'm a nobody. I'm a loser. No one's going to love me. What's the evidence for that? Is there someone in your life that's telling you that? Is there evidence, or is it internal? If it's external, it's time to have a conversation and boundaries and about safety. If it's internal, it's time to have a conversation about safety within yourself and boundaries within yourself. Healing is not the absence of discomfort. Healing is becoming strong enough, kind enough, brave enough to stay with yourself through the discomfort. You will feel guilt sometimes. You will feel grief. You will feel awkward and scared and exposed. But you will also feel moments of radical freedom. Moments where you rest without apology. And with that, I would like for you to change that perspective or give yourself a new definition of rest. Rest is a requirement simply because you exist, not because you perform well, not because you do something for someone, not because you check boxes off the list before you can rest, but you have the power, the right, and the autonomy to rest right now just because you exist. It's not something to earn. You'll have moments where you say no without collapse. It'll be wonderful. It's happening. It's coming. And you'll have moments where you realize, I'm not selfish. I'm not bad. I'm just honoring myself. I'm coming home to me. I'm doing what matters to me. I'm putting myself first. Because the way you treat yourself, my dears, is a direct example, direct permission on how other people are going to treat you. They're not going to go above and beyond that. So if you're treating yourself with bare minimum, they're going to start at bare minimum and then go down, decline, or just stay there. And is that what you want? Is that what you deserve? Hell fucking no. Treat yourself like the queen that you are, like the magnificent being that you are. Honor your wants, honor your needs, honor your goals in love and light. And no one, not even your own guilt, gets to take any of this away from you. It's just an emotion. It's not facts. As you move through your week, I invite you to sit with this journal prompt. What is my guilt trying to protect me from? Dig deep. What are your fears? If I do this, then this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is what it means. Write it softly. Cry if you need to. Laugh if you need to. There's no real way to heal. When you get these fears, look for the evidence. What evidence supports this fear? Or most likely, what evidence disputes this fear? When you have disputing evidence, it's FEAR, false evidence appearing real. It's not for you, sis, throw it away. If the evidence does support the guilt, okay, regroup, pivot, find a new path, do something differently. But let the evidence guide you, not your emotional state of mind. Emotions aren't facts. You're not alone. You are not too much, ever, 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 never, ever too much. If someone tells you you're too much, tell them to kick rocks. They are scared of your magnificence. That's all that is, and they're trying to make that go down. Don't allow anyone ever to tell you you're too much. Your too much is your superpower, my dears. Your too much is what changes this world for a better place. You are exactly who you were meant to be, even now, especially now. I hope this helps you find a little bit more peace in your guilt, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more confidence in your ability to create boundaries, to stand up for yourself, to live on your own terms. Like I said earlier, micro agency. What is one small thing you can do today? Choose your lunch, say no, rearrange a room, rearrange your office desk. Like, what is it that you can do to have micro agency to feel less guilty today, but also do it in the name of you, prioritizing you. You can check out my link tree in the show notes. That is an audio bundle for boundaries. There is a Spotify women's Divine Women's playlist, nothing but good vibes, music-wise. Something to get you going, something positive to put in your ear. You can message me here. Please tell me if you have any questions, if anything felt good for you or just lit up in you. Just leave me a comment or any reflection. I would really appreciate it. And then you can catch me on Instagram, Empowering Wellness Hub. Until next time, keep choosing yourself. May you be happy and free. May mine and your healing ripple outward to bless the world with happiness and freedom. Take care of you, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.